Hey, this is Daryl Olson from the Jackson Fishing Team, and I believe this is our fourth fly. Anyway, our next fly for my New Hampshire trip, and it's a streamer fly called Harris Special, and it's I guess a popular northern New Hampshire streamer that was tied by Oliver Harris of Warner, New Hampshire, back in the 1930s. But from my understanding and reading about this fly is that it wasn't widely used until like into the 1960s, and I think that's because his boys ran some type of a wholesale fishing tackle company or something like that, and started selling this fly up through the New England area. So anyway, let's take a look at this fly, and we'll get to tying it, and I'll explain the materials as we go along. This is the Harris Special streamer fly, and we're going to tie this tonight. And why don't we go ahead and get started, and I'll put a hook in the vise. We're going to tie this on a Mustad 3665, size 10. You can tie it from a 6, 8, 10, 12, maybe a 14 on there. Let me go ahead and debarb this hook. It's a good fly for wild brook trout in ponds. I don't see why it wouldn't work in some streams as well, if the pools are deep enough, I guess. I don't like that. Don't like that hook. It was kind of bent in the shank. So let me get another one out. All right. Debarb that one. Good. All right, the thread we're going to use, I'm actually using a 10-aught black. You could probably get by with a 6-aught if you need to. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start this thread right back behind the eye, about an eye width back. And we're going to take it back to where the barb would be. Yeah, all right. We'll take it back about there. We're going to put the tail on, and The tail you can either use golden pheasant tippets, or the original recipe actually used the crest. So we're going to take a little bit of the crest off. You don't take the big ones, because from my understanding, that the length of the tail is about a gap. That's what it looks like in the pictures in there of what I've seen. Not a very long tail. And I'm just going to go ahead to help support that up. I'm going to give it one turn underneath. And then give it a taper cut. And then we're going to try to help keep the body without that drop off. We're going to make sure we've got somewhat of a taper. And we're going to move our thread up towards the eye of the hook. And the body's going to be some silver tinsel. And I'm using a medium size gold silver. But the body will be actually the silver part of it. And we're going to wrap the silver twice. The body twice, so you might need a length of material, because we're gonna wrap the body twice with it, and we want to make sure that the gold is sitting on the outside, so we're going to tie it up front. And then that way when we wrap it, you'll see the silver, might not, but there's the gold and the silver. And we're going to wrap this going back. Try to keep it nice and smooth. You know, if you can't get it smooth, I guess it's a fishing fly. But if you're trying to tie a fancy fly for show or something, you know, you might want to try to make sure you're doing this nice and smooth. And so we're going to wrap it back towards the tail. And then we're going to wrap back to the eye of the hook. tie that off. And trim off the excess. And we'll cover up that tag in here. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the throat on, which is some red bucktail. And you don't need a lot, it's supposed to be sparse. And we're going to go ahead and clean it out a little bit. We might try stacking it, but I'm going to come up here and I'm going to pull those long ones out. And then I'm going to trim this off a little bit, and I'm going to give it a little stack. And we want this long and sparse, but you know, just to about maybe the tip in there. And I'll trim off this little bit here. I think that's still a little long. I'm going to trim a little bit more off. Yeah, that looks good. It's supposed to be long and sparse, and I'm about maybe it's still a little past the point. But it's not as long. Not as long. Alright, the next is going to be some white bucktail. This one's getting pretty thin. And again, it's not a lot. It's supposed to be somewhat sparse. And we'll clean that out. Kind of grab up here a little bit. There you go. Get rid of this one here. And I'm going to try to get this one here so it's somewhat positioned maybe halfway back to the tail. And trim that off. Yeah, that's close. That's close. All right. The next material, we're going to put a tent of some wood duck lemon bark. Kind of tent it over the white deer hair there. I'm going to kind of clean off the fluff. And we're going to try to make a tent over that, over the top of it. Just tied in a little bit here. And lock that in a little bit, and we're going to cut this off, and we'll build our head. And that tent or that wood duck feather there is about the same length as our white deer hair. And I believe this 3665 hook from Mustad is like a 6 or maybe a 7x long. I understand you could even maybe tie this fly on a 4x on there. Give it one more whip finish. Now, if you don't have wood duck, you could use mallard that's dyed wood duck. wood duck, and then on there. And then we'll put a little head cement. Yeah, trying to get a better picture, but there, I don't know if you can see that, that's even better. But that's the Harris Special. The streamer, it might imitate maybe a smelt or something like that, I'm not sure, but it'll be some kind of bait fish, I'm sure. I hope that you found tying the Harris Special interesting. It was a challenge for me. Not sure if I did the tent work just quite right for the overwing, but I'm going to have to start learning how to use streamers for trout. I don't suspect it's any more different than using streamers for bass, but we're going to learn that and try to catch my first brook or rainbow or brown trout on a streamer this year. All right, Daryl Olson signing off, and we'll see you on the water.